In this video, we're going to be talking about the 1962 classic French film From Cleo 5 to 7, directed and written by Agnes Varda. We're Coffee with Aliens at the Movies, a film education and review channel. I'm Robert Bellissimo. I'm an actor and acting teacher.
I'm Steve Chambers. I'm an actor and writer.
And if this is your first time here, please consider subscribing to our channel by clicking on the subscribe button, which is in the description box below.
Okay, man. We're going to talk about, before we talk about Cleo, this wasn't what I was going to bring up, but moment of silence, September 30th.
Ah, yes.
All right.
Yes. We're not worthy.
Cool.
That's right. No, I like that. Yeah, that's a good tribute to
yeah, I just remembered that. Anyway, no. So we're going to talk about Cleo From 5 to 7, a film by Agnes Varda, which I just want to quickly say, I knew nothing, I don't think, about Agnes Varda. I knew of this movie. I'd never seen it. And as I watched it, I knew I liked it. I was really into it. And we'll discuss that in a minute. Give me, Robert, the plot. What's Cleo From 5 to 7 about?
A very beautiful pop singer, and she's gone for these cancer tests, which look like they're going to come out as being positive. So it takes place in real time from 5 to 7 as she's waiting to speak to her doctor, and basically her having to face this immortality and what that means, and how the other people around her are reacting to the fact that she's sick or not reacting to it. So she begins to look at the world and the people around her in a whole different way as a result of facing doom. So that's the gist of it.
But on that, is there a way for us, anyone watching this, that can relate to what this character is going through? Any themes?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think apart from the obvious, like I think anyone who has had any life-threatening waiting for any life-threatening test results can relate to it, or even being sick with cancer or any kind of life-threatening disease. That for sure, but also the themes of people basically living in fear. So she has this fear that she's going to die, but she also is afraid of everything. And she talks about how she's afraid of needles. She's in a relationship with a guy because it's a safe relationship, because he's traveling all the time, because he's just only loves her because she's beautiful. They don't really know each other. So it's what she's used to, you know. He praises her beauty, and it's safe and comfortable for her. But I think just this, we live in a world that the system is based on fear, and it's based on superficiality, and you see that so much in this movie, based on how she is then looking at things around her and how these things don't matter. You know, she goes, there's a guy eating frogs in the park. She's like, what the you know, and it's like how people just get distracted by chaos and gimmicks and nonsense, and no one is really living in the moment or loving
this
each
is
other.
True.
Really
this is true.
And none of these things are said. It's just in the fact that she's watching people, and people are watching her based on their idea of her. And, you know, so and that's, and you know, when you are that beautiful, people are looking at you based on your look. So you really, but no one is looking at her at what's really going on. So
exactly. You nailed it. Yeah.
It's really just like Antonioni's. It's really these themes of existentialism and why are we even here? And why are we not making use of why we're here? But not done in the way he, not done in the way he does allegories. It's actually done in a very emotional way.
Yes. The pressures that women were going through. And you can say all people, but as Robert said, you know, beauty, beauty, beauty. And the way it's handled, and that, God, this bullshit, like not me, but our lead character, Cleo, and that's not even her real name, but no one gives a shit because she's just a product, is that she's just going through what do I look like? How do I present? Looks. And the way it's told, you're not smashed over the head with it. It's done with the use of mirrors, man. And it's really cool.
Yeah.
And she's, as Robert said, and everything, she's scared, she's nervous, as you get because you're so self-conscious, until she realizes, I think it's at a rehearsal with her bandmates, and they don't give a shit. They're not hearing her. They don't care. They don't care. And so what does she do? She goes home, rips off her wig. I didn't know she was wearing a wig. And the irony is, under the wig is the same hair, basically. She's still blonde and beautiful. But from that moment on, that's about halfway into the film, that moment on, every mirror, and that plays heavily into the first half of the film. The second half, every mirror she looks at is either broken or fragmented, because this is the moment she stopped. Look at her walk. Watch how she walks. Rips the wig off. Walks like John Wayne almost, but not as like a lady should walk. And that's the moment she starts to, like, I am more than this. I'm not going to worry about how the world sees me as much. And that's when she starts to, like, I think, be honest with herself. And anyway, listen, it really touches on the importance the Western world puts on looks and everything. And I get it. And that's, like, I'm not saying you shouldn't care, but I hadn't seen a movie that addressed it so beautifully, artistically, and like carefully, without being a fucking statement of yelling. But I haven't seen a movie like that. I haven't seen a movie like that today, let alone 58 years ago. And how are more people not talking about this, man? I ask you.
Well, it's because Agnes Varda is a woman. You know, I mean, she was part of the new wave, and Truffaut, and not, it's not that she isn't well known or praised, and Criterion just not that long ago put out a box set of her stuff.
Yes.
But still, I mean, when you think new wave, you think Godard, you think Truffaut, and Varda is not in the top 5, but she was way better than Godard for sure.
Yes.
You know, this POV shots of her just walking through cafes in the streets, and people are just checking her out because she's beautiful. And even her friend, her female friend in her apartment, when she's talking about her female friend forgets she's like, what are you talking about? She's like, the fact that I might be dying.
Yeah.
You know, and her boyfriend too. Oh, no, you're beautiful. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You're too good looking to die.
Dismissing her. And you know what? Then she starts to believe it. And you see early on in the film, Corinne Monchon, who was the actress who played Cleo, is amazing in this movie. And I thought the fact that she had the depth, the emotional life to experience the fact that she's dying from the first scene where she goes to that card reader, psychic, and she's looking at the death card is coming up, and she just breaks down. And of course, you know, but then moments later, she looks at herself in the mirror and she's like, oh, I'm beautiful, I'll be fine, right? But it's done so, it's done with such ease. It doesn't feel forced, and you see she goes back and forth. And she's not just crying the whole movie, like she is having fun, and then she's reminded of what's gonna come in the songs that she sings. You know, she starts to cry because it's actually a lot about what she's experiencing. And as she goes back and forth, and even in the park, she's skipping in the park later, right before she's in a good mood all of a sudden, you know, and she's conflicted, and it's because of the way people are treating her that makes her think that she's fine.
That's right. That's right. Why are we talking about this movie right now? Why is it a classic?
It's a classic because it holds up as universal, and women are. This is something that happens every single day. You can be in an ER room right now and find a beautiful woman not being taken seriously, or any, not just necessarily someone. I'm not saying that always happens, but it is common. And you'll see people wanting to date people purely on their looks and not about who they are once they get to know them. I mean, obviously, initial attraction, but where do you go from there, right? Once you really have to then be with each other. So, you know, all of these things are in this movie. And of course, again, the themes of existentialism. Why are we here? Why do we distract ourselves with such bullshit and drama and stuff that really doesn't matter a lot of the time? you know, and that's all in this film, and I don't know if that will ever improve.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
all in there, and
I agree.
It's done in a way where, you know, really makes you think, because like I said, she's not, it's looks, it's the way people look at her, it's the way people are communicating with her and not communicating with her. So it's all in the interaction, it's all in the acting. It's not with a shot of something where a critic can go and say, well, this shot means that. No, it's in the communication, it's in the acting, it's in what's happening with people or not happening. So you really have to lean into it, you know, and it forces you to really pay attention. But at the same time, it's a very emotional film. It's not just you're thinking all the time. You feel for this woman.
It was interesting, and great films, for my money, do this, that without planning on it, it had me thinking about it after the fact. So I wasn't missing the film by going, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? No. I'm in the movie. I'm watching it. I'm loving it. I really was. Yeah. And then later, while I'm, you know, cooking dinner, or vacuuming, or whatever the hell I was doing, painting my nails, I went, hey man, like that, look how that really came together. That really worked. Yeah. You could freeze frame anywhere in this film and get a great picture, a great photograph. And that's because Agnes Varda, who I didn't know much about her, and perhaps you're right, because she's a woman. I don't know. I don't recall hearing her name, and I know the French New Wave, or so I thought. Apparently I don't. Right. She was part of a scene in the French New Wave called the Left Bank scene, which was separate from like Truffaut and Godard. They were a little older. They were not as movie obsessed. Varda was actually a skilled paid photographer. Yeah. I mean, there's the rough rock and roll stuff of Breathless, which I love. But she's doing the same thing. She's on the streets with no permit, but she took the fucking time. Film looked more like it had a budget than a lot of its contemporaries, and it didn't. It was made the same way.
I just watched on the Criterion Channel, there's a half an hour little featurette where I think about 15 years ago, she did a little segment where she got the actors and the crew members together, and they went to the location where they shot, and they talked about the film, and it's pretty interesting to go back and watch. But she told a really great story, and this is a testament to someone who was more interested in what's happening between the actors as opposed to the shot. And I never picked up on it, but in the very last shot where she finds out that she has cancer, and then she's with the soldier,
Antoine,
and she says, well, you know what, now I'm no longer afraid, I'm feeling good. And it's really a really beautiful moment between the two of them. And as they're walking towards the camera and no one's saying anything, if you look behind them, you can see the dolly tracks. So while they were editing, they were like, fuck, we've got to reshoot it. So she finally convinced the producers or whoever to get the money to do it. They did it, and she was trying so hard to get them to do what they did before, and it wasn't working. So while she was in the editing, she was like, I'm going to use the first one. Because if they give me hell for the fact that they can see the dolly, so be it. And no one ever noticed. And I
didn't notice.
Maybe because it's in black and white, or also because you're just and it's blurry in the background.
It's blurry, and you're really, like you're pretty close on her face.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is very excusable.
But and that says a lot, because I guarantee you 99% of directors would have picked the other shot just because it looked better and didn't have the dolly track in the background. And you have to be more concerned with the what's happening between the actors and what the audience are going to take from that. And that is a testament to a true filmmaker. And so I love, of course, the last scene with the soldier, because, you know, he seems to just be flirting with her, and she's distant, like, whoa. But then all of a sudden you see he's this deep feeler, this almost poetic.
Oh, well, they're going through the same thing.
Yeah, generous guy, and he's taking her seriously. Hey, I'll go to the doctor with you. And as a result of that, she opens up to him, and she says how. And it's not a romance. It doesn't feel like a romance. It feels like two people really listening to each other, really talking
Yes.
to each other.
Yes.
And I never forgot that scene. And I saw this movie years ago. And that's the scene that always stuck with me. And it's because it's real communication. And then she talks about,
Yes.
well, I'm afraid of everything. I'm afraid of needles. And she goes on and again. And I think the reason at the end she says, I'm happy, I feel good when she finds out that she has cancer is because now she's the only way to face fear is to go into it.
That someone's finally listening to her. And someone's probably finally listening to him. And he's about to go off to war, messes with your expectations
That's true.
of this should be the romance that
That's
ties
true.
the movie up with the happy little bow, but
Exactly.
it isn't.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Again, if this is your first time here, please consider subscribing to our channel. You'll see our Coffee with Aliens at the Movies logo at the top right of your screen there. Click on that, and that will give you instant subscription to our channel. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.